Season 2, Episode 1, and we're joined by the regulars of Neil Williamson, Dom Hardman, and myself, JK. Today we are joined by a person that you would have seen doing this.
A person?
A person?
A person? A person seen doing this? What was the thumb action as well? Me, JK.
He's got his radio voice on.
Thanks for radio.
Bristol did respond, though, through Will Hurrell, the centre, powering his way through the Saints' defence to touchdown.
Right, get into it. Of course, we are joined by none other than Will Hurrell. Will, how are you doing this evening?
Yeah, really good, mate. Really good. It's been busy, actually. Been real busy.
Yeah, I noticed you've got a lot going on in regards to a lot of the charity work that you do in regards to mental health, and obviously starting a new job recently. And yeah, so how's it all going? What's been going on with the busyness?
Yeah, really good, mate. So I got involved in this legal recruitment business, international one, run by a guy called Liam Mooney, who used to play for Exeter about 432 years ago. But he's a really good boy, actually. And I got introduced to recruitment by a few lads, and I was a bit wary. I was like,
yeah, you can't trust recruiters.
I was like, I'm not sure I'm going to fit in with this, drinking port after a big sale on Saturday night. But Liam, top man, and actually his big focus was on getting the right people in the right companies, building relationships, and a big emphasis on mental health support. And alongside the recruitment was this thing called the HR shop, where you deal remotely with companies' HR. But my role in that now has been promoted to Director of Leadership and Management.
Nice.
So I'm actually leading the whole of the sort of leadership, and we've just today finished a webinar on mental health in the workplace, because it's notoriously quite bad in law firms, and alongside that, it has been quite bad in certainly some of the rugby teams I've been in. Certainly some lads have been really struggling. So yeah, just been rolling with that, mate, and then doing a load of media on done some with Loose Heads, done some models, Daily Mail and stuff like that. So just really trying to get my story out there, and hopefully it helps someone.
Yeah, you've been doing a lot, and obviously there's a great thing with Loose Heads. Something you may or may not know is we've got some recent collaborations with here at Dodger Sevens.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a good bunch of lads over that way. But yeah, life after rugby seems to be on the up for you. So we'll go back into a little bit of your rugby history. A long one, many teams. Where did it all start for you? Was it school or?
Yeah, so just started at school, mate, and always loved it. Like, Dad was a pro footballer, trying to get me to play football, and I was absolutely rubbish. Yeah, I know, like proper triangle feet as well. Just couldn't kick the ball straight.
It's the wrong shaped ball, that's why.
Yeah,
that's the centre.
I went in to start playing rugby. Just absolutely loved it. Kicked off at school, got into England 16's year early, only one, and then just sort of built from there. Got into Leicester, played a few first team games. Thought I was the big dog. Got released. the usual chat. I was gutted about that, to be fair, because I did like it at Leicester and some really good boys there, but wasn't meant to be. And then had a year at London Welsh, got promoted, and got released that year as well, just because they wanted some bigger dogs in the Prem. That was literally it. So from there, I went sort of downhill. I spent a month at Rotherham, which I just hated it up there. There wasn't nothing against them, but I just didn't fit in. A couple of boys just didn't get on with, and
Northerners.
Yeah.
Just got a massive chip on their shoulder, honestly.
And they're like a close group of boys, and I was a young, flamboyant, mouthy, big ginger twat on the wing. And obviously coming to this Rotherham team, and they were like, "Who's this fucking knobhead?" So after that, I was just sort of dropped right down and played at Stourbridge with my brother and Nat too, and went to uni, did a maths degree, and just built back up. Played Coventry, had a really good season at Donny and then in Bristol for 4 years. So, and it was going really well. Yeah.
Going back to,
I think you did miss one of your biggest teams. I mean, I know you're only on loan, but come on.
We're not about
Thank you.
We're not about that shit team in the southwest, are we?
Come on.
Play some dog shit ground.
oh, yeah.
Hey,
I mean, being a Wasp fan, you can't talk about grounds, mate.
Yeah, but they say that Wasp.
hey, it's a hell of a ground. They just can't fill it.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
It's a massive ground. We just can't get as many fans in there as we want.
Because London Wasps don't originate from Coventry. That's why.
Hey, do you know Wasps? I've been so impressed with Wasps in the semis and the final, though. Clearly, Lee Blackett is. Do you know, actually, I read an article that Lee had done, and he'd gotten a psychologist after the final. And clearly he's bothered about, mental health and boys performing. And he said he'd wish he'd done it sooner. And that just really impressed me. And I said, I'm not surprised they've gone semi in the final and done so well, because he's clearly bothered about the boys' mental health.
Exactly. Especially with the fact that 11 COVID tests, positive tests, couldn't train for the week prior to it, having to bring in, I think it's 2 or 3 players that would normally be on the starting 22. And literally took it to the absolute wire. Yeah, Exeter, fair enough. They were tired from a week before, but the resolve in the team was just mad. The depth that they've got.
Honestly, I thought they were. Yeah, I honestly thought they'd do it though. When they're on that 5 metre, and they had that throw in, I was like, they're going to do this. And then just went. When they missed it, it was so unlucky. I felt so bad for the young hooker that was on. But Exeter just have this habit at the minute of just fucking winning, don't they?
That's so good at the moment.
Yeah, phenomenal team.
But
I mean, going through next year, there's no end in sight at the moment. Sorry to be doom and gloom to COVID, right? So in terms of no, but hang on, it is But in terms of that, do you think there's going to be any teams that, if we can't get fans in the stadium soon, do you think there's going to be any teams that are in danger of seriously folding? I know who Dom's going to say.
I think most of them genuinely are at the moment.
Wasps don't have that issue. We don't fill stadiums.
Yeah.
True.
They've not noticed the hit whatsoever.
I think, to be fair, my point is, I think Bath are going to struggle, because obviously if you look at the derbies that they have with Gloucester and Bristol, the Rec gets filled on those days. And I think with no fans on those big turnout days, it's not just, as you say, it's not just the fans or the stadiums that are going to fold up the rugby clubs, it's the local businesses. If you look at Bath, as soon as a Bristol versus Bath game, I remember a 15, 16-year-old lad going down when we were playing Devices, 15, 16-year-old, and going to the Rec watching Bath versus Bristol. It was heaving. You couldn't frigging move.
Yeah.
I think, it's the local teams like that. Leicester, not going to have that much of an issue.
Leicester were lucky to not go down this season.
They've got bigger issues than.
Thank God for Sarries.
Yeah,
outrageous that.
It's this is something, and I did a column in the Herald. I'm doing, and I mentioned about this. Right, I was sitting months ago watching New Zealand have packed people full in stadiums, right? Yeah. And rugby starting ages ago. Why can't we do it and do it sensibly, right? Get everyone in, get everyone wearing face masks, gloves if you have to. People will wear gloves and come and sit and watch it, right?
Yeah.
And have a one-way system, have a server going around with beers, with the big kegs, and, just do it, but do it safely. Even if you want half the people in there, you're just killing the sport at the minute.
Exactly.
And, I had a talk earlier with the Plymouth lot and the coaches, and they're all really positive. But if they don't start doing something with grassroots and that, it's gonna be fucked, mate. And the champs.
Yeah. I think I read somewhere recently that the grassroots are looking to potentially coming back, but no scrums and no mauls.
Yeah,
and that's what I think. It's on the cusp of the RFU allowing that for a January start. Obviously, the leagues are not happening. However,
I can't say January start.
Aren't we just going to a situation of let's just play league? It's not our sport.
The GRFU and the Hereford RFU have sent round to all the clubs. It's not happening basically this season. Full stop. That's it. I've knocked it on the head. All lower league stuff. Because I play for a lot of clubs, so I get messages from like Norton in Gloucestershire, the Hereford Greyhounds, and it's all being the same across the board.
It's a big time player
off this season. Oh, you know that, but it's it's like. It's been knocked on the head this season, so there's going to be nothing. I mean, there'll be no sevens next summer, I don't think, at this rate.
They've all been told to get jobs, haven't they? Also,
yeah.
We've got a couple on LinkedIn, and they're down for looking for work now, and it's just and the women's as well are going to struggle.
For sure.
They were building up. They were going really well, and it's.
Well, a lot of the sevens lads are now working at schools and have been picked up by a lot of the education sector to come in as coaches for the first teams, etc. Ready for. I think it's good for them because I think that's the best sector for the sevens teams because come the summer, that's when they need to be ready. Yeah, they can get obviously private funding or whatever, work their way through Monday to Friday through the winter periods, get ready for the summer season, and then
That's what it's going to be. They're going to have to maintain that level of fitness or in and around that region to be ready because if the sevens does come back, they're going to have to hit the ground running.
Exactly, literally, excuse the pun.
It comes to something where if you look at obviously the Pacific Islands, they've always been shouting about funding has been sparse, we're not able to fund this and the other. And Fiji Sevens teams are not exactly telling them to go find other jobs. Yeah. Samoa maybe not, but then England Sevens, the powerhouse and a country that has been known for rugby for so long, it's literally like, nah, we can't afford it. It's like, how?
Yeah.
It's the old boys in the big offices.
This is what frustrates me is the people making these decisions aren't in amongst it and involved in it. We're being dictated by government who haven't really got an invested interest in it at all. And they're happy to say, look, we'll stop the spread of COVID. But then there's people still crammed in shops in the lockdowns, mate.
Yeah. We're going to shut
there's people getting the tube to work every day as well.
Yeah. I mean, there's protests in London. I've just seen a live one. There's must be about 20,000 people in a 100 meter space. And I'm just thinking, like, we've got to look at this, like, what's best for the country, the economy, and everything.
They had we're going to lock everything down Thursday. Give us like 3 days' notice. That's basically saying to everyone, go and have a last bender. Go and spread it.
I've had 3 days on the lash this week.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. That's standard though, Dom.
Yeah, but no, coming back to the end of the season, obviously, a lot of your old pals in Bristol getting a bit of European success. Thoughts on that? Long time coming, do you reckon?
Yeah, I mean they've been good, haven't they? They're really cracked on, played some really good rugby. I mean, Wasps really punished them in the semis. So I knew they'd bounce back after that. I thought Toulon were a bit wishy-washy, but like
I don't think they've got the names they used to anymore, have they? They really haven't.
French rugby as a whole is taking a big dip. Their domestic rugby taking a huge dip. If you looked at European rugby and you thought who's going to win it this year, you put a tenner on a French team coming back with silverware. Now, what a chance! You could even look at things like Zebra in Italy coming up with some kind of goods against the French. Some of the teams.
I think that probably just shows that they're probably the lads aren't getting treated the way that they feel like they should be, because there feels like a lack of bite from them that you see him from Exeter, from Wasps, from Bristol. You're seeing these teams with a real want to try and win and succeed, and that's all down to management. That is 100%.
And like mindset goes a long way, like you were saying earlier as well. Caring about players, not only their mental health, but like being in the right mindset and stuff. I mean, the first person I remember doing that, and forgive me for mentioning the dreaded F word, but it was Glenn Hoddle, manager of the England football team, and he brought in like it wasn't a psychic, it was like I can't remember the name of it now. She brought in like this faith healer, that was it, to try and help him out. Obviously,
I've heard of this. Yeah, I've heard of that.
But But that was, I mean, don't get me wrong. Yes, it was football. Yes, it didn't work. But that was the first instance I'd kind of heard of that, where I thought, do you know what, that's there might be something in that, because you know, happy players score, happy players win in whatever sport. You know, as long as they're, you know, mentally, you know, stable. That, you know what, that sounds awful, but you know what I mean. Like you know, leveled out and you know, in a good place, then you're only going to perform better, aren't you? So. Yeah, it's mad, but it's good to see how much of an impact that has on sport nowadays, because there's people, you know, to go off and do degrees about it and you know, really learn about, you know, that sort of side of things, and yeah, it's mad.
Yeah,
really.
I think there's still a lot to come. I mean, it fucking astounds me that rugby clubs don't have full-time psychologists. You got 6 full-time physios and a doctor looking after everyone's physical health. Why not have someone on 40, 50 grand a year? That's all it'll cost you.
Yeah.
Having someone to say, right, you're independent, you know, make sure these boys are ticking 100%. And they can come to you about anything, performance anxiety, problems at home, you know, stresses. And it might just be an extra couple of % on a few players, and you're flying. But
the return on investment on that is you will get a better output from the players, because they not only will they know that they're looked after, but at the same time they know they've got someone there to talk to. 9 times out of 10, if you look at, I can guarantee, if you look at the Exeter team after their cup final, I can guarantee the emotional state of them lot coming, knowing that what they've got to come in a week's time would have been all over the place, and they know the pressures, the massive pressure on them to go, we've got to get the double. It's because if you look at Exeter 10 years ago, they would never have dreamed to be where they are now. Championship team, getting ready to get into the Premiership, and look at them, double cup Premiership winners and European winners. 10 years later, so the pressure's on that to be the only one of the best, the team to do that for the first time would have been huge, and I guarantee they would have been feeling it. I think that could probably go a long way to their performance on that weekend. Was mainly down to they weren't just physically burnt out, but mentally they were shot. They were knackered. The toll it would have taken on that game day, I can't even fathom.
Yeah.
And I think you're right. I think what a sports psychologist in each team will definitely help. Football do it. They've 100%. They've got sports psychologists looking after the players, and you can see the output they get from it.
Yeah. The top teams, don't they? They just carry on performing, and they're sometimes having 3 games a week.
Yeah.
And you see top teams like when Leicester won the cup.
Yeah.
Big decision. You
where
know,
are they now? I'm sorry, where are they now?
No, it doesn't matter. Well, I'm talking about back then.
Yeah.
Glory. Like they you know, they must have gotten it spot on, because they were playing sort of 3 games in 7-8 days, and like winning all the games and really flying on. And I just think to have that much, like you say, pressure, having the repeat efforts, you know, after big game, like you got to have something right psychologically. And like you say, all these football teams, they all do have full-time psychologists. I just think rugby needs to move on now.
And even if they don't want to go pay 40, 50 grand, if one team literally goes to a university and say, look, sports psychologist, if you're doing your dissertation, how about you come and join us for a year? Come to us, sit with us for a whole year. We'll give you, we'll pay for your university fees. What's that to them? It'll be a huge thing for them that they get free university, but at the same time, they're getting on the job help. They can do it on the job. The dissertation is done. And at the same time, they're actually helping a team out, and you're getting some very valid data to go to other teams and start actually going, right, this actually works. Let's start paying for the big boys.
Yeah, I think there's some organisations that are like looking to like try and instill it into players and stuff like that. But I think and you said it there, Will, they need to be independent, because if you're within the team, or you're a coach or a member of staff within the team, you know, you're dealing with 40, 50 lads a week potentially. So you know, you're not going to have that chance to just look at them, you know, chat to them and have that sort of relationship with, you know, each player. So, yeah, I think they need to be independent, and they need to be from, an external source.
Yeah. And because if they're employed by the club, then you know that you will always be worried about it getting back, and they're saying, oh, they're not right, they're not ready. But, I think it needs to happen, definitely. It seems so in my time at Bristol, I've had 6 lads come up to me, and this is I was in this stage as well. 6 lads come up to me and say, I'm really struggling, and 2 of them I've had enough, I could jump off the fucking Clifton Bridge, and I was sort of trying to manage that and speak to them and take them out for beer and that, but I was thinking, where's the fucking support? The RPA do a great job, but very often that has to be coming from the individual. So I'd have to go and say, right, I need some help. And quite often you don't want to ask for that help. And if they had someone coming in and looking at the lads, you could say, fuck, I can see you struggling. I think it's just an opportunity missed to not have only happier players, but to improve performance as well.
And I think obviously if the pros are doing it, then that you'd like to think that trickles down to grassroots levels as well.
Yeah.
I think with kids there is. There's a kids team. Well, a few kids teams like Gloucester Old Boys who's played for, and I think they've got a well-being officer and that sort of thing. But I think it's more aimed because it's young children. But if they can get it right at that level, then surely it should, like you say, go the other way as well, Dom. It should go up if it's working at kids level, looking at then I don't know. But it always comes down to money, doesn't it? That's the problem.
Yeah,
but as I say, the return on investment you get from that money, anyways, is astronomical. If you start winning the league because you've looked after your players better. Funding and the sponsorship's going to come flowing in. 50 grand is a drop in the ocean to a £1.2 million sponsorship deal because you've won the league.
Yeah, you bang on, man. You bang on. Mental health's not just about the boys that are struggling. It's a performance as well.
Yeah. As I say, it's that whole age-old thing, and I think a lot of rugby players now, especially in the modern game, burnout. The burnout rate is huge. It's absolutely massive because it's a stronger, faster, fitter game. You've got younger boys coming in at 17, 18 years old, pushing the old boys out, and the old boys are having to push even harder to try and stay in the game because they're older. And they're burning out a lot quicker. Because if you look at a lot of the forwards, they can generally, you look at the Delalios, you look at Haskell, who went on to his late 30s, all of them to their mid to late 30s. Nowadays, you're seeing first-team rugby players are 28 to 32. Because they're burning out and you get new blood in, and that's a mental state. It's not just because they're feeling down or whatever. They're just mentally shot.
Yeah.
And I think now it's like now more than ever is where it's needed. The boys are needed looking after, going from, or they did do, where they were going from playing, training every single day to nothing. Now, motivation's gone. How they got them back, I have no idea, especially to the standard. In fact, you probably saw it. You saw some of the teams that weren't doing so well, who were like mid to lower in the league, started making the creeps up because somehow they made it better on the return to rugby. They were a little bit better and their mindset was there. So whether they had something going on internally, fair play to them. And you saw some of the upper teams start dropping because clearly they didn't have what was something to kind of get them back into it.
Sales just lost it, didn't they?
Yeah, they did.
Dead cert top 4, and they just kept dropping down and losing games and lost opportunities. You bang on, mate. Spot on.
I guarantee the majority of that would have been mindset. It'd have been that it's not because they were having mental health issues per se, but they needed someone to talk to kind of gear them up and say, look, it's all going to be all right. We're going to get there. We're going to do this. This is what we need to do. What do you need from us? What do you need from the club? Because I'm going to mediate and say, this is what this player needs. I'm the one who's going to be your voice where you may not feel you've got it.
Yeah.
It's that sort of thing.
No, agreed.
Definitely a lot that needs to be done.
Yeah.
But moving on to some international stuff. We had I wouldn't say the grand climax of Six Nations. I thought it was rather dull of a...
It's a wet squid. It was. Do you know what? It's the first England game. I didn't watch the second half.
I disagree on the. I disagree on it being anticlimactic because I was loving watching the Ireland game. Yeah, we had the England-Italy game was a bit wishy-washy, but going into the Ireland-France game, I was like, oof, this could go any way now. And it made that game that I would not generally want to watch more interesting for me. So Yeah, the England game was a bit anticlimactic. We were going to win it anyways. We got off the mark a bit late, but it made the whole finale a lot better.
Yeah. Yeah.
Imagine that plays out moving into this autumn. What are they calling it? Is it Nations Cup? That's it.
Yeah.
I mean, Fiji and Georgia.
Ireland, Wales, Italy, Scotland, England, Georgia, and Fiji.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on that? How's that going to pan out?
Well, will it go ahead? Sorry to be the downer.
Yeah, I think it's going ahead. I think they've not stopped professional sport, have they?
Well, we saw the debacle with the Barbarians. Anything could happen.
We skipped over that as well. Yeah.
How bad would you feel? I mean, is he going to be remembered for that? You know, like when that makes a mistake in his pitiful apology. You know, but if you were like having your first cap for
no mercy.
You know, but like Lewis Ludlow was, you know, I'm obviously a Gloucester fan, but like he had his first cap for England. It would have been other guys as well, I believe, and it just it's kind of ruined it for everybody else. Is that? I mean, I know lads go out and that, you know, but surely if you're going to do that at all, you do it the night after the match, not before it. And I know the Barbars is supposed to be an absolute piss up normally, but
yeah, that's just I've heard it's free bar night before, night of the game. And the night after.
In the 5-star hotel where they could have eaten together and had a bit of a piss up previously.
Yeah.
Such a hard life living in it pissed me off. My wife got this right and she sat there and goes, I feel bad. And I said, why? And she goes, all these grassroots players are sat there itching to play, really want to get back on the field, wanting to get out there. And then you've got the likes of the Barbars who have this massive opportunity where their season's finished, but they're getting this chance. Yeah. They go and fuck it up. They go do something outrageously stupid where we're trying to get on with our lives, trying to get through this COVID. You guys are trying to wanting to get onto the pitch, and then they go and fucking do something like that. Why? Because they wanted a fucking meal. They went outside of a 5-star hotel where there's a restaurant on site where they could have had a few drinks and a meal while you're sat at home waiting for that game, actually excited to watch a Barbars versus England game.
Man's
on tour though, isn't it?
Yeah.
No, I get that, Don, but JK's right there. You've hit the nail on the head. That is 100%. I didn't look at the bigger picture there, but you're right. You know, there is hundreds of thousands of people wanting to watch this game, maybe even millions. You know, and getting excited for it, and the sake of 6 or 7 people going out and doing that, it's ruined it for everyone because that would have been a release for everyone right now, wouldn't it? You know, just to watch that little bit of rugby, especially a Barbars.
I'd love to just be on the pitch. You know what? Sack those 7 players off. I'll go fucking play against England. I might get my head kicked.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to watch that though, mate. I wouldn't want to watch that. That'd be boring.
I'll go and play against England.
I really don't. But it's the fact that I really could have
get run over.
That'd be fun. But no, it's
You're right, mate. I think what happens sometimes in rugby, and I've felt this as well, is you lose a bit of perspective. You get in a rugby environment, especially professionally, it's so congested. You don't see a bigger picture sometimes. I've felt like that when I was playing, and I've had my low points. I've sort of felt not trapped, but you're consumed by rugby, and you forget about what it means to fans and what it means to young lads, and you don't talk about mental health. All it is rugby, and we've got to do this week, and got this sort of training, and that's it.
One track mind, isn't it?
What I want to know is what was going through Rob Shaw's head. He's an ex-captain. He's obviously a leader. They knew the COVID rules. I want to know what the conversation was for that to happen. It can't have just been let's go for a few drinks and a meal. It had to have been, look, they know they weren't allowed to do it. I want to know what the conversation was that brought it up. It's like, you know what, fuck it. We won't get caught. Bollocks.
Well, I wouldn't trust his judgment. He is on OnlyFans, isn't he?
I'm sorry, that line-out call in the World Cup as well. Do not trust them calls, mate, honestly. Wait, did you say he's on OnlyFans?
Yeah, Rob Shaw's on OnlyFans.
No.
Apparently.
Wow.
Are you joking?
No, someone sent it me the other day.
Get researching, Dom. Get researching.
Don will be asking you for that later.
Get it in the WhatsApp group, boy.
I was going to sign up just to see, but I couldn't.
Please do. Eyebrows.
Yeah.
Well,
he
can't
can't see my eyebrows.
now, isn't he? Yeah.
No, so yeah, Nations Cup going ahead. Do you think it's a good idea? Do you think it's something that's pretty kind of out the box, trying to get some extra games in there? Do you think it's going to work out the way it should, or do you think it's going to be a massive flop?
I think it's a nice idea. I think they're trying to get some rugby going on. You know, we've had a massive gap, a huge gap between the Six Nations, and we have big breaks in rugby, and I think they're just trying to get something going. So, I'm a huge Norse. I'll watch anything. So, I'm happy it's on.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to seeing like Georgia in the mix. It's sort of like I feel like it's a little bit of a test for them because obviously there's always get that little bit of a, if they have a terrible spell of games in the Six Nations, you see all these people on Twitter saying get Georgia in and stuff like that. So I think, I'd love them to go and turn Italy over by 40 points or something because that'll just blow Twitter up. But I think it'll be a good test for them to, you might meet them in the World Cup every 4 years, but, to see them play 5 games, 6 games against top tier nations, I think it's going to be interesting for that.
Do you not think it's going to show a massive disparity between the two tiers? The risk of showing a massive disparity? I guess
I don't think so. I think it'll bring them on. Look at like the likes of Italy since they joined the Six. I know they've been in the Six Nations for a while now, but they're getting there. They've got some bloody strong forwards. They're linking things together and they're looking more of a polished team. And I think that can only help Georgia going into this. And
it'll definitely help them.
Yeah, I don't think it'll go the other way. I think it'll be a positive effect, not negative. I don't think it'll cause a rift.
An interesting one.
Yeah,
I just hate to see it happen where you see that. To be fair, at the same time, I hope it does show the disparity because I hope it shows World Rugby that the tier 2 nations, as it were, do need a lot more investment and a lot more time. I hope it really does show them that there is a big difference between the two different areas, and they do need to kind of bring that more in line so that we do have bigger fights in the World Cup. Because the World Cup, if you look at it, it's literally fought out by the same bloody people into the quarters, semis, etc. Albeit now and then you get a few oddities like Japan spanking South Africa in 2015, but it's very rare that happens. And I think they kind of need to see how vastly different the two teams are. Georgia have a great pack, but they're not very organised in that sense. After that,
they're units, aren't they?
They're absolutely units, but then when it comes to organisational skills, they're not exactly there or thereabouts. Fiji love a good flair, but again, they're like running around like headless chickens half the time and trying to do everything with one hand. Not going to lie, enjoy it and love seeing it. However, it shows the difference between England, who can do that, but at the same time have a bit of structure. And I'm hoping, and I know it's a bad thing, but I'm hoping we see big cricket scores because I want World Rugby to stand up and say, right, we really need to invest in these other nations like the Fijis, the Samoas, the Tongas, the Georgians, the USA, who, albeit have gone bankrupt, but it makes World Cup time 4 years later a hell of a lot more interesting because you don't know who's going to be going through. You're going to look at groups going, you know what, I can't pick between those. Otherwise, it is getting boring. And I want to see these other nations really pushing through because I know Georgia can do it. On a good day, they could beat England. On a great day, they could beat Italy. But I don't think at the moment they can because they haven't got the investment. And I think they need that.
Yeah, you make a valid point. It is when you watch the World Cup, you literally see the two teams going through, and it's almost it's a little bit pointless watching the group games. And you're right, it's nice to either see a restructure of it or see somehow bringing up those tier 2 teams with a bit of investment. Getting over some coaches, some top end coaches over there, different things like that.
It's the same with some of the tier 3 ones. Obviously, Germany, I had the privilege of going out and training with them, and they were a good setup. However, they didn't have the investment.
No.
They had the investment, then it'd have been great, but they've been kicked down to tier 3 because of the investment. And I remember the reason why I didn't go back out there was the Deutsche Rugby Verband. Literally, the investment tanked. They had nothing.
Yeah.
And it really killed them.
Yeah, funnily enough, I was talking to Germany about potentially going over and running their international academy.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. Well, Yeah, we had Damien McGrath on last series, who's the German Sevens coach.
Yep.
That was yeah.
Top bloke, yeah.
Mike Ford out there is the head coach for a while. I think he took over Cobus, and Mike Ford was out there.
Oh, nice. Yeah, it was for wasn't he?
But it just didn't help. The investment wasn't there, so they couldn't keep him. I think he'd have been a great addition, but no money. And I think that's what World Rugby really needs to start doing, is not focus on the tier 1 nations, because they're doing it themselves now. They're kind of looking after one another and looking after themselves. It's making big.
I think there's always that argument though, like World Rugby want to generate cash just like every other union. So like if they just push money into the top tiers, they know they're going to get the better kickbacks at the end of the day.
Yeah. But if they start putting money into the other tier 2 nations and start hosting frigging big old games in Georgia, can you imagine? That's more games they're having. That's more money they're generating. And if they think about it, obviously the investment in Georgia rugby goes up. That's localized teams are going to start going up. They start getting a professional structure because they have got some professional teams in the Champions Cup. It's like there's 3 tiers of the European Cup. They do actually have a couple of teams, but that's extra added money.
Yeah.
The revenue goes up because they've got domestic rugby goes up, and you've got more professional outfits in these areas. You don't just have South Africa, Australia, New Zealand, England, Italy, and the home nations. You have Georgia to throw in there. You've got Germany, who've got the Bundesliga, very, very competitive league. You've got, if you get into like Belgium, Norway, they've got very, very well thought out domestic leagues, but they're being overlooked because they're not tier 1.
Yeah.
The money's there. Bit of money into
How
them.
would you, in theory, Will or JK, I guess, how would you even up if you wanted to like handicap a team, or how if this was just theoretically, if that's how you wanted to do it to make it more fair, not talking money, how could you do that? How would you make it a level playing field other than just sort of saying, right, you've got to start with minus 40 points? I mean, is there any other? No,
you can't really handicap in that sense because that doesn't help anyone. You're still going to get a stronger team. It's unsafe. It's massively unsafe. It's all about it's pumping not just the investment in the time in the sense of money. It's the time and effort you put in those countries. It's having other countries putting coaches in, say like Georgia, putting coaches in Belgium, putting coaches in Norway that are high level to try and bring these teams up, because it's all, at the end of the day, money's all well and good, but it only gets you so far. You need the people behind it. So I work in technology, I work in IT, and I've always said the same. And I say the thing, you can have the best hardware, the best licensing out there, you can have the most expensive shit, but if you ain't got the people to back it up, it means fuck all. Infrastructure, it's gone. So it's the same in rugby. You could pump as much money in as possible, but if you've got Joe Bloggs, who works as a fucking teacher every 9 till 5 on every single day, head coach of a national country, you're not going to get anywhere.
No.
Whereas if you start putting a person in there that's very high up, who's going to be able to see, not just get you to a standard, but see talent in other areas, because at the end of the day, it's all about perception. It's like, you could say that, you get that, say, Joe Bloggs, who works as a teacher, says, oh, my boy's great, give him a go. And he gives him a go and he gives him this, that, and the other, because he can't be asked. Whereas if you get likes of Mike Ford, who did go to Germany and coach, and he sees them and says, no, they're not good. However, I've gone out and I've looked at different areas, I've looked at different teams, and I'm bringing this person in and I'm doing this. You start getting strategies and they get plans. So it's time and effort more than anything else that they're not getting.
Yeah. You need the infrastructures in place, don't you? Someone that manage it properly. You know, you need it, and it starts from like school rugby, doesn't it? From boys building up, wanting to play, I want to play for Germany. And then you get, like you say, a few pro teams, and then it just starts building from there. But it's got to start from the top. You've got to have the infrastructure in from the international team, and then you can start setting up stuff lower down from that.
Exactly.
You're right, you've got to increase your pool. Yeah, you've got to increase your pool, what you're picking from. And at the minute, teams like Germany and Georgia and that, they just haven't got the pool to choose from.
No.
Yeah. Do you think, I mean, the pool in general, do you think that after we've got over the end of COVID and everything like that, do you think there'll be a lot of players that won't return to rugby in every level?
Yeah.
Yeah. In England, I think there's boys going to be looking at it going, the champ's done. There's not as much rugby in the semi-pro. You know, I may as well go and do something else. I'll go and play football.
Yeah. Well,
go and try it
players from Dodgers. Yeah, 2 players from Dodgers have started playing football just because they're like, I'm sick of just waiting around, not being able to do anything. You know, they Oh, did I not tell you this? Sorry, Dom.
What? No, who's the other guy?
It's Kai. Kai's gone to play football, and I can't remember who else it is.
And you started 6-a-side as well, you little rat.
I'm with you on that one, because it's like I have not been to rugby training in 3 months, just because it's not. I know it's not.
I have to say, you're looking very slender, JK. So what have you been doing?
So I've been concentrating on my martial arts. So I've been enjoying that more because
Ludo, Ludo, origami.
Prick.
That's a nibble. That was such an easy nibble.
It was. He bites it very, very easily. It's great.
But no, I'm agreeing with you, Ian. Neil, so you can shut up.
Yeah.
I think more and more people aren't going to go back, because I'm now under the thinking it's like, if we do go back to some kind of semi-professional sport or semi-competitive sport, should I say, I'm kind of enjoying myself doing what I'm doing now more than I am playing or training rugby. And I'm gearing myself ready to get up and get in the cage and get onto fighting. But
in the cage.
Yeah, funnily enough, I actually said this as well in my article in the Herald. I said they've got to look at the structure of English rugby, or it's going to be fucked. You've got championship boys on sort of anywhere between 5 and 30 grand full time. You got the semi-pro boys who can't get paid. You know, you're automatically promoting Saris from the look of it and saying Ealing can go up if they pay.
It's ridiculous, that.
So you're leaving 10 teams in the champ, all of who they're not going to be able to afford to pay their lads without the people watching. And you've got the semi-pro teams going, are we getting paid? Are we starting? What's fucking happening? Right, fine, I'm off to find another job. If they don't do something, it's going to be fucked, and we're going to have Prem teams and academies, and that's it. And then you're going to start struggling, because Prem teams, they're notorious for taking on loads of academy players and binning 90% of them off.
I see. It turns it into like more of a pyramid sport, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah. Just making the gap bigger and bigger, and that dream of getting from Nat 2 to Prem, impossible. You know, and it's not. It wasn't impossible. Like I did it. I went all the way from Stourbridge up to Bristol, and you're making it like for young lads looking at it. They're going, "Oh, well, there's no money. Not getting many fans now. It's all sort of died down. I'll do something else," like you said.
Yeah.
It's got to be really careful.
Yeah, it's sad to see. And
we're about to see how big the gap is. I think when January comes and the championship's back, we're about to see. Saracens have kept a lot of their Premiership players, a lot of their international players, might I add, who do need game time because they need to be international ready for Six Nations, etc. So they're going to have to play, and we're about to see how big the gap is. And I think that's going to be I think it's good and bad. Bad because it's going to be dangerous in sense of scrums. If you put the Vodapolars up in a scrum and you put Jamie George and you put the front row that Saracens would normally put up against the likes of Doncaster Knights, they're going to hurt them in ways that you can't imagine. Absolutely going to hurt them. But at the same time, it's good because I think it's going to absolutely prove the complete gap between Championship and Premiership.
And I think...
Sorry, go on.
I was going to say, I think England Rugby are going to notice how important the Championship actually is after it's gone. Because there's even massive gaps in the Championship with like clubs. You got like
Carnegie.
Some of these teams are now signing Premiership players. And there's some teams that are dropping boys down to part time or not even getting paid anymore.
Well, do you know what I said? And I said they need. If you want to ring fence it, right? Make the Championship a big fucking a big final at the end. Even put some of the Prem second teams in the Championship along with them.
Yeah.
And make it something to aim for with it, a big final, get it at Twickenham or something like that. And then have a sort of draft at the end of the season where boys can get picked to go into Premiership sides.
Yeah,
that's a great idea.
It's
Great.
always something to aim for, and you can build up. Then you can play National 1 and go, right, I want to play champ because I want to play in that big final at Twickenham, and I want to get into this draft for the Prem teams.
And
it makes it something really achievable, as opposed to the pipe dream at the minute of, right, I'm going to go and play for 15 grand for whoever, Donny, and I might get picked up if I tear up.
Yeah, I agree. It's like if you ring fence it, you make it into like a Pro 14, Pro 12, whatever it is. You set it aside as a big thing, and they go and fight for things like the European Cup, and they don't have that issue where, oh crap, we're going to get relegated, which then the Championship aren't thinking, oh crap, they're going to get relegated, demoralised before the season even ends, and then the Championship will inherently start getting the TV rights, which is going to pump a load of money into it because you make it into a big thing. But at the same time, you can start putting them into European stuff because, as I said before, if you look at the European Cup structure, you've got the Champions Cup, Challenge Cup. And there is a third cup every single year, which is fought out by the tier 2 nations. Like there's two teams from Germany, 2 teams from Georgia, and 2 teams from Italy that fight out in that cup. You start putting that as a look. If you're in the top 4. You're off to this Champions Cup. You created a whole new European fixture.
You're spot on, mate. You're spot on, and they've got to do something. Otherwise, like
there's your money.
You're going to end up in this situation where you've got Prem teams and academy, and that's it. And that's really dangerous because boys will start getting binned off from there and feel like the world's ended. Got nothing to fight for, and once you start losing that will to fight from the lads, people are just going to start binning it off.
Yeah, and it's a shame because football's going to pull through because they've got the money. Obviously, they've got the money in every stroke, all the way down, and it's just a shame to see that, rugby's not that, the same. There's a lot of people like you're saying, we should be able to have fans in the stadium. I totally agree. I think people should go in, get tested on the way or whatever, but there's got to be some movement on that, or the sport altogether will die. I think it's just.
Why can't they just have a one-way system, face mask, even if you want them to wear gloves, and that way no one can even skin to skin people then.
That's it.
And just do it sensibly rather than just binning it off. People watching rugby won't be the problem for COVID. It's people on the piss. It's people going to these protests where there's fucking 20,000 people in London at the moment. It's schools, it's unis, it's all these things that are the issues that probably need to be ironed out. It's not people watching rugby.
For me, I think it's sport as a whole, and things like gyms are closing, because obviously you saw Haas going out and protesting about gyms closing. For me, the idea would be, it's like my MMA gym, we haven't had a single COVID case. Now, we've got strict COVID controls. You get temperature checked as you walk in. You have to register on so that you've got track and trace. You have to wash your hands before you go in. You're in set 2 meter squares when you're training. And we prove that every time, but we've not had a single one. I think it should be if you get flagged up on test and trace that your gym has had a COVID outbreak, you're shut for 2 weeks. You're just shut for 2 weeks. You're done. But until that time, don't shut us until that actually happens. Because it's maybe it might happen. But the likelihood is it's not. We haven't had one in 4 months.
Well, the gyms are one of the safest places in terms of it because it's constantly wiped down. Constantly, everyone is just. One of the safest places, and yet it's the first place to always go. And then that affects people's mental health, because it's happened to me personally. I used to go to the gym every day, twice a day most days, and I've gone from doing that to not at all. And it's massively affects you mentally because, the endorphins you get from just doing that bit of exercise, from that little bit of, time each day, just,
Me and the missus have just started in Pure Gym, and everyone is in there wiping their shit down after they've used it. Everyone's miles away. There's big boxes, and you can go in this bit as long as you're all separate, right? And like you've just said, mental health. That for me and golf. How they've stopped golf, I have no idea. You're not even anywhere.
Yeah, I know you're a big golfer. I heard
this on Talk Sport, and at this exact point, they said, so on Wednesday I can book around a golf, go and have 18 holes, right? And he said, on Thursday, I can do the exact same walk, but if I've got my clubs with me, I'll be arrested or likely to be arrested, right? If I haven't got my clubs with me, it's fine. By himself. So both days played together. How is that? It's just
take a football and play a bit of foot golf. Because you're not. It doesn't say you can't do that.
Yeah. Mate, honestly, it's mental, and you've got the hitting the nail on the head with mental health. Like, after I lost rugby, golf and gym was all I had. It's all I've got at the minute.
Yeah.
And that was, playing the golf was everything. That competitiveness. Yes, I was absolutely shit at it, but it's the only thing. It was that competitiveness for me that really got me, really helped my recovery, and that in the gym really got me fit again. And again, it's just taken away, and it's just.
Do you think it's worse that we got everything back briefly and then had it taken away again? Do you think it would have been easier if it had been all this time?
100%.
I think that's going to affect more people because of that. It's like we've got back into it, like, yes, I'm so happy. We've got some kind of norm. We've got some kind of thing, and then it's like, no, you can't do it. It's like,
well, I was in the pub. I was in the pub last night for like final lockdown drinks. Honestly, when it was
you're the problem. You're one of the problems. You are.
You.
It got to 10 o'clock. We were all like saying goodbye to each other. Like, it's like the end of the bloody world. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, it was to an extent, but it's just like they're giving you a little taste. But I can't see people sticking to these new lockdown rules.
I watched one of the things on the news where this little local pub had bought a boatload of kegs for everyone. It had all opened up, and he had about 40 kegs, and he was like, "They've just shut us down in 3 days." He was like, "I've just lost all this money." He said, "All this money here, gone."
Yeah.
It's a keg.
Yeah.
Yeah. There with a trailer.
I'll take them. I'll get the big car and just load me up. No, I agree. I mean, we could talk about this for an age. I think we could potentially leave this for the additional conversations maybe next week. But Neil, is obviously called Scenario Neil for a reason. I hope you've actually brought
another. Before we drop this shit.
No, we haven't.
We weren't going to do a scenario for the first one. I was going to leave everyone in suspense. But I mean, we've done that. I think when you were on last time, we did the did we do the team? Will?
First player to pick himself.
That's right.
Right. What's wrong with that?
There's nothing wrong with that at all.
I thought it was gold, mate.
Down first every time. But I don't think anyone else will want to play with me. That's the problem. But I've got hands like feet with sandals on. But I mean, there's the usual ones like the lockdown questions which we did last time and things like that. And then I'm trying to go a bit more highbrow, Dom, if I'm honest.
I thought you would have thought. I thought, well, I mean, it's not what you've been doing.
We're leaving Scenario Neil until next time, are
we? Yeah, we'll do it. Pick me up a good one, and we'll do it next time.
Definitely. No, I think
for our viewers as well, it's going to be great to kind of announce this on here. It'd be great to know that you are going to join us, which is great. Joining the panel. Can't wait to get you in front of some of these ex-professionals and let you grill them.
We need to tap you up. We need to get some of the Bristol boys on.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, I'll get some good uns. And then I know all the goss as well, so I can...
Exactly, and I can't wait for you to start bringing up some stories as well. We want juicy details while they're there squirming. Cannot wait. Welcome to the side team, and we can't wait.
Put it this way, I've wandered into... my missus lives opposite Lakota in Bristol, the nightclub, and we wandered in there for a quiet pizza because they do pizzas as well. Turn around and there's 6 of the Bristol boys at one of the little tables in the club, and I was like, it's the Bristol lot. And I'll tell you next time what happened. But.